Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment with your hosts, Joe and Ryan.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
According to the anthropomorphic pencil that lives under my bed, I'm Joe Wakefield.
I'm Ryan Lang.
Hey, guys. So, for anyone who's a returning listener, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome again. You're going to enjoy the show, as always. And for those of you joining us for the first time, what we do here is a little bit of the spooky, a little bit of the creepy. Sometimes it's ghost, sometimes it's cryptozoology, or an ancient curse, or a long-time mystery, but it's always spooky. Then it's followed by a segment called Disclosure Discussion. That one's all about aliens.
I'm just asking questions. UFO stories, videos, photos, interdimensional stories, time travelers. That's the kind of stuff we talk about.
Right on. Then the latter half of the show is dedicated to the all things entertainment. Sometimes that's entertainment news.
Yep.
Others times it's a celebrity death or a fun trivia game or some crazy story about, I don't know, a monkey who could play guitar. That would be entertainment. Don't question me.
It would.
And those two things together are our show. It is the delicious Oreo of spooky and entertainment. Welcome to Earthling Entertainment.
Welcome, welcome. Make sure you're downloading the episode wherever you listen to podcasts. That's the best way to support us.
All right. So unless you've been living under a rock, Deadpool and Wolverine is probably the biggest movie in the world right now. Don't worry, we're not going to talk about any spoilers, mostly due to the fact that I have not seen it yet. Ryan has, though.
I caught the matinee, went and saw it. I was like me and 3 other people in the theater, which was shocking. It was a Friday morning. I went and saw it on opening weekend, so I must have just hit it at the sweet spot.
Well, most people don't want to get up in the morning. That's just a fact.
And it was a Friday, so probably a lot of people at work. But
yeah, and the people who had to see it saw it that Thursday night.
And I no spoilers, I promise. But I have to say, the people in front of me, I could tell were annoyed because I caught every joke, every reference, and I was dying. Basically, the entire movie.
Just laughing up a storm.
And like, just like, oh, like not even just laugh, like just some shit was just like, wow. It was good. If you love Deadpool 1 and 2, if you love Marvel, if you and I do suggest
referential entertainment and R-rated comedies.
And I've heard from people who literally saw nothing of Marvel at all, just happened to go to this movie because it's, such a huge deal.
Well,
and they've enjoyed it.
Ryan Reynolds is a very charismatic man. Like, all the way back from Van Wilder. You like watching him. He's an entertaining person to watch. That's why, he's one of the biggest actors in the world.
Right. And Hugh Jackman, I'm a huge fan of all of his stuff, his musicals and honestly all the crazy stuff that he does. And man, oh man, did he frickin' get ripped for this movie.
Well, he get ripped for all the movies.
But my God, I last thing I'll say, this is just the best depiction of Wolverine, in my opinion. If you grew up, around the same time as us, I was born in 87. So those early X-Men comics, video games, and the series.
The same X-Men from the new show, X-Men 97.
Man, it was perfect. Chef's kiss, man.
Fair enough. Let me tell you a little bit about me trying to see this movie. So this weekend we were up north, and it was a family reunion, and basically there was one theater in this small town, and they only play one movie a day, and it's at 7 p.m., and you can't buy tickets online.
And don't be late.
Yeah,
we won't let you in.
Exactly. So, as much of a fun adventure as that would have been, unfortunately, I couldn't convince my mother to watch the baby so my wife and I could go. Now, the problem is the trip's over on Sunday. She's too tired to go, and she's working during the week, so I can't convince her to go after work. And she's going on a trip on Thursday, so it's just impossible for us to see it together. So she's probably going to see it with her brother in California. But meanwhile, my only option, because of the baby and because of my responsibilities watching the kid, there is a drive-in that is right around my house, and I can go see this movie at 2 a.m. And I might do that at 2 a.m. tonight because it's pretty close. And then, wake up, go to sleep early, wake up, go see the movie, come back before my wife or kid wake up, and that is the way I dodge this how do you find a sitter? You know how you find a sitter? You do it in the middle of the night.
Well, and it's so crazy like that the drive-in is still there. We went
wonder
there
how
when
many
we were in high school and stuff.
Oh, of course. I wonder how many people or how many drive-ins still exist.
I don't know. I know that there is one near Monroe near me because I've typed in like movie theaters and stuff, and there is a drive-in, but I don't know if they do new movies or if they're one of those kind of old fat where they play like older movies kind of thing.
Well, I don't remember how much it was in high school, but it's expensive now. It's like $30 per car. So that doesn't, yeah. So if I go myself or I have like 4 kids with me and my wife, it's the same price.
I do remember it being like pretty expensive comparatively to going anywhere else. I want to say it used to be $17.
I mean, I guess I get it, right? Because if you're covering everyone in the car, it ultimately does come out cheaper. But if you're just like me trying to escape in the middle of the night to see a movie before the spoilers get you, because the internet's really hard. Anytime there's an image of Deadpool or Wolverine, I just have to literally put on my blinders and just don't read anything.
No, yeah. Well, and it's harder now. Everything gets spoiled so easy because after opening weekend, most people, make sure they go out to see it just because social media spoils everything. Everyone's going to go on there and talk about it, share stuff. And
well, under most circumstances, anyone who cares about things getting spoiled needs to see it the opening weekend. Like, I accept that. Like, I'm not mad at people for putting spoilers out there too soon because, it's been long enough. It's, but that being said, it's the dodging. Like, what do? You don't go on social media or you don't go on the internet at all for a week.
Well, and I'm an understanding person when it comes to like everybody's busy, dude. Like everybody's got their own life. Like you're a dad, and you've got like this kind of crap to do. You're busy. You can't get out there. I think we should all just agree on 1 week. 1 week, no spoilers. By Thursday, if you see a spoil, well. But I think just as a society, because it's like
we should all agree.
I'm just saying.
I don't think you're ever going to get anyone behind that. Organizing the masses is tough.
I know. It's just, the arts were always this country's way of getting out. Like during the Depression, people went out to see the movies. Like movies were huge back then. That was when it really like exploded.
Well, in the 30s, I mean, we just started getting sound. I mean, because I'm, Dracula and all. The Dracula was 1931. That was during the Depression, right? Because wasn't the Depression like 1928 or something?
I forget, but I just know that during the Depression, like there were like 2 things that were a huge thing. Barbershops, because everybody had to look good to try to get a job, and movie theaters. Those were like the main thing that was to do during the Depression. And I feel like now we're kind of living through our own little version of it.
It was 1929. I'm sorry. That is like recent enough history that we really should like fact check and know that.
I agree.
I didn't want to look like an idiot. You should know what the Depression is.
But that's crazy. So it's still not even 100 years ago.
Yeah. So be weary because that shit can happen again.
Well, we're dealing with inflation like a mofo. We're still not there. We're not there. I'm just saying, like we're in our own little version.
I'm just laughing on your use of mofo.
Yeah, I don't know why I said mofo, but I'm gonna stick to it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Oh, and on a side note, like completely ADHD mind here for a moment, I found an elf puppet that was like straight up from 1986 in my parents' basement. I'm like, it's freaking Elf. And I remember watching Elf when I was a kid and liking that show.
You guys, that's ALF. That stands for Alien Life Form. That is the brown puppet from the planet Melmac. I believe it's Melmac.
You're close. Yeah, I think that's it.
And he eats cats.
Yes, he eats cats. And I'll always remember like they would always do like a funny credit scene. Like while the credits were rolling, there would always be like on the side, Alf would be doing something funny. And I remember the cat was on the table and he was making a sandwich and literally the puppet's like spreading mayo. He's like, I'm making a BLT because I think the cat's name was Lucky.
Yeah.
He's like a bacon Lucky and tomato sandwich.
Yeah. The whole time he's trying to eat the cat. All right, so I know Elf had this show. I know it had like a cartoon that lasted a season or 2 that I think was a prequel because it was his life on Melmac before it exploded. I know he had a 1990s, I'm going to say between 94 and 97, I'm not sure exactly, made-for-TV movie called Project Elf, starring Martin Sheen.
And I know I saw that.
And that essentially was the end of the series because the series ended on a cliffhanger. And then
Yeah.
years later, sometime in the 2000s, they tried to do a talk show with him that lasted a couple episodes.
And then I heard in because I just fell down an Alf rabbit hole. Then I heard like in 2017 they were gonna do something like a resurgence. I don't know if like a show, probably on a streaming. I think it'll be on Peacock because I think Alf is on. Actually, you can watch it on Peacock right
is
now.
NBC Universal, so I'm not sure who owns the rights to Elf.
I like I said, I typed it in and Peacock came up, so I'm assuming that you could probably watch it there. But yeah, so in 2017 they were gonna do something, and then it just kind of fell apart. But I just read that evidently last year, I don't know what studio is now talking about working on doing stuff and collaborating to do something with Alf. So we very well might have new Alf soon, and honestly, I'm here for it.
Just a quick search says, here you go, Ryan.
It says Maximum Effort and Fusco have revived Alf along with Shout Studios to premiere new sponsor-driven content premiering Saturday, July 29th. How is it that this is weird? Because I literally just found it, and it's literally so that means
so it says premiering Saturday, July 29th, but the article is from July 27th, 2023. So this either already happened or didn't happen. Maybe it was delayed.
I wonder.
We're gonna once again, Ryan. You got to jump back into your Elf hole.
I'm gonna have to jump into my Alf hole.
Oh man, I loved Elf.
Dude,
I was the right age. I was a kid. I was born in '86, so that a puppet running around was my thing.
Like that's the kind of sitcoms I remember.
The family angst with the one character who's a fish out of water. Now, obviously, not all of them is a alien puppet, but that is a common TV show trope. It wasn't quite a family, but like Mork and Mindy was the fish out of water.
Or like Harry and the Hendersons. Like there's always like a middle class family with something crazy.
Harry and the Hendersons did have a TV show, and it lasted longer than I thought. It was like a couple seasons, and I was amazed because I loved the movie, and I'm like, there was a fucking show, and the same guy who played the Bigfoot, Harry, in the movie, played him in the show.
Very nice.
I know.
Very nice.
It's just weird because that was a huge show at the time. It was hugely popular, but does anyone remember it? And
I don't remember the show.
It makes me think about like what shows are out now that like no one will ever remember.
Like evidently maybe even Alf came out last year and we were unaware. I'm going to have to figure that out. But it's so weird. Because that was an article. Yeah, that article straight up said that it came out last year. So we will have to see what happened there.
All right, guys. And with that, which kind of went from Deadpool to Elf,
Why not?
To be fair, if you've seen any kind of Deadpool, that transition actually makes sense.
I was about to say it tracks.
Yeah. Now we're going to start our first section, which is this week's all about H.H. Holmes and the Murder Castle. Very cool. So strap in for this week's spooky stuff.
H.H. Holmes. In 1861, Herman Webster Mudgett was born in New Hampshire. It is said that at an early age he was fascinated with skeletons and soon...
no red flags there.
Not at all. And then soon became obsessed with death. It may have been this interest that led him to pursue medicine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
After graduating high school at 16, Mudgett changed his name to Henry Howard Holmes, and later in life would be known as H.H. Holmes.
He was a Tolkien fan.
Yes. Oh, yes.
No, J.R. I just, anytime people uses the initials, it's kind of, I don't know. Mine wouldn't really work. It'd be like J.N. Wakefield. Hello, I'm J.N. Wakefield.
R.S. Lang.
That kind of works.
Holmes studied medicine at a small school in Vermont before being accepted into the University of Michigan Medical School. Ooh,
oh, it's good to be accepted.
Local for us. While enrolled in medical school, Holmes stole cadavers from the laboratory, burned or disfigured them, and then planted the bodies, making it look as if they had been killed in an accident. The scandal behind it was that Holmes would take out insurance policies on these people before planting the bodies and would collect the money once the bodies were discovered.
So he was a little bit of a swifty man.
Yeah. Not much of a hose.
Swindler, I would say.
Yes.
A grifter, if you will.
Yes, he's a bit of a rascal. He gets a
And just loves playing in bodies and stealing money.
yeah, he gets
Boys will be boys.
Holmes will be Holmes.
Oh my God.
In 1884, Holmes passed his medical exams, and in 1885, he moved to Chicago, where he got a job working at a pharmacy under the alias Dr. Henry H. Holmes. When the owner of the drugstore passed away, he left his wife to take over the responsibilities of the store. However, Holmes convinced the widow to let him buy the store. The widow soon went missing and was never seen again. Holmes claimed that she moved to California, but this could never be verified.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Did she actually agree to sell it to him? Because if she did, then why would he? I mean, just for the fun of killing, I guess. But like, why would you kill her? Just let her move away. So the fact that he killed her, to me, well, allegedly killed her. She moved to California. Excuse
Allegedly.
me. But the fact, to me, is like she wouldn't sell, and he's just like, all right, killed her. Oh yeah, she totally sold. Check it out.
I mean, yeah, back then, it's not like I'm sure it would be easy enough to forge that kind of crap. Who would know?
I don't know. I mean, while they didn't have forensics, I think they did have some kind of like, writing analysis.
Yeah,
I mean,
like-
we got to give the people, the cops of the day some credit. They did have methods.
That's true. This guy got away with a lot, though. Holy crap, this guy's
Oh,
insane.
That's an understatement. All right, so here's the setup. He's got himself a nice little business.
So, after Holmes had become the owner of the drugstore, he purchased an empty lot across the street.
As one does.
He designed and built a 3-story hotel, which the neighborhood called the Castle. During its 1889 construction, Holmes hired and fired several construction crews so that no one would have a clear idea of what he was doing. He was designing a murder castle.
And that actually makes a lot of sense, right? Because you wouldn't want one architect looking at it and be like, are you aware that these gas pipes, and what about this trapdoor? And, spikes come out of the wall. And here it seems like you have a bathtub full of acid.
You're fired, you hack.
Hey,
Get out of
listen,
here.
don't question my art. I'm a doctor
Get out of here. I'm going to
and,
hire.
and a pharmacy owner, damn it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, how many?
Take a chill pill.
It's a good thing it was in Chicago, right? Because there have to be a lot of competing construction guys. And Chicago people, I've lived in Chicago, they imagine that they ain't going to tell their rivals what they did.
No.
They're going to be like, hey, man, fuck you. You on that job? You don't need to know.
Yep. That's how it works.
H.H. Holmes, you crafty son of a gun.
So after construction was complete in 1891, Holmes placed ads in newspapers offering jobs for young women and advertised the castle as a place of lodging. He also placed ads presenting himself as a wealthy man looking for a wife. All of Holmes's employees, hotel guests, fiancés, and wives were required to have life insurance
Wait, how many
policies.
fiancés and wives did he have?
Who knows? This guy got into it. He got up to it.
All right, I'm sorry. They were all required to have life insurance
Life
policies.
insurance
Yeah,
policies.
that's not a red flag.
Oh, yeah, that's not a red flag at all. Holmes paid the premiums as long as they listed him as the beneficiary.
Once again, no red flags.
None at all. Most of his fiancés and wives, plural, would suddenly disappear, as did many of his employees and guests. People in the neighborhood eventually reported that they saw many women enter the castle, but would never see them exit.
It's like the Thunderdome.
In 1893, Chicago was given the honor of hosting the World's Fair, a cultural and social event to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Columbus's discovery of America. The event was scheduled from May to October and attracted millions of people from all over the world. When Holmes heard that the World's Fair was coming to Chicago, he looked at it as an opportunity. He knew many visitors would be searching for lodging near the fair and believed many of them would be women whom he could easily seduce into staying at his hotel. After being lured into the hotel, a lot of these out-of-town visitors would never be seen again.
And it's actually perfect because think about it. The World's Fair, people from all around the world, and not everyone. I mean, there's not paper. It's not like we can follow credit card trails. You know what I mean? Like you don't know where people are going and staying. They're paying with cash. There's not the same kind of. It's not like we have flight manifestes of like tickets being bought, and
Well, and this is
so
where
people disappear on trips. You know what I mean?
yeah, and this is where you got to consider the time.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you're traveling far away. Something happens to you. It's gonna take a long time for people to like figure out that something happened to you. They're just gonna assume you're coming back.
Yeah, like your relatives are just gonna be like, "Oh, it's been longer." Maybe they're held up by something, and you just never know.
Like, yeah, back then I assumed like, okay, it's been a couple months. Maybe we should worry about Joey. Like, where did he go? Like,
Shit.
So the first floor of the castle had several stores. The 2 upper levels contained Holmes's office and over 100 rooms that were used as living quarters.
Damn,
This place is huge.
I didn't realize there was 100 rooms.
Neither did I.
Like in my head, it was like the old timey hotels where maybe there was 10.
Like a bed and breakfast.
I
Kind
don't
of thing.
know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
100? I mean, how big? I don't know the rooms, how big they were, but like, damn.
Well, this dude swindled a lot of money to afford that. Some of these rooms were soundproof and contained gas lines so that Holmes could asphyxiate his guests whenever he felt like it.
Just something to do.
Throughout the building, there were trapdoors, peepholes, stairways that led nowhere, and chutes that led to a basement.
What about ladders? Were there chutes and ladders?
Yes, evidently there were.
At least they had games, Ryan.
The basement was designed as Holmes's own lab. It had a dissecting table, stretching rack, and crematory. Sometimes he would send the bodies down the chute, dissect them, strip them of the flesh, and sell them as human skeleton models to medical schools.
Once again, this guy is practical. A complete psychopath, but like, at least he doesn't waste anything.
He knows how to make a buck, let's face it. In other cases, he would choose to cremate or place the bodies into, like Joe said, pits of acid.
How do you buy, like, you couldn't buy just a barrel of acid now without being on some government list. Like, how do you get a bunch of acid? Can you make acid? I'm not going to Google it because, once again, I don't want to be on a government list, but.
Like in Breaking Bad, they did it, I guess. They were able to just kind of buy this acid and just dissolve bodies if they had to, but I don't know if
that is a television show.
That is a television show, so
But
I don't know.
Although, if he's a doctor, I'm sure there's some medical reason why you would need it. So he had a license, right? To buy.
Right.
Okay.
So it probably was less questionable. They're just like, oh, the doctor needs that, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, I guess he doesn't practice. He runs a pharmacy and a hotel. But yeah, sure. Yeah, here's a barrel.
Yeah, just maybe don't stay at the hotel. Just maybe don't stay there.
There's at least one architect who had some suspicion.
Like,
He's like, look, guys, I'm not putting the whole puzzle together here, but he did have me install a trapdoor. What possible? It was a laundry chute. I don't know. It was pretty big. Shut up, Gary.
yeah, some of these things that he had us building in there was real questionable. He
He only has hook up half the gas. Like the lines just end in certain rooms. Like he's got to get a good gas guy. We're the best in the city, so I don't know what he's gonna do.
I mean, we did a good job there, but I just don't understand why you need
None
that.
of those were. Both of those accents devolved.
I'm doing kind of like
neither one was Chicago.
No, it's not Chicago. I'm kind of like doing. I was kind of like doing like a middle America kind of. I was doing Minnesota.
Yeah, kind of. I was like, you're closer to Minnesota. I'll take that. All right, back to the psychopath. The United States' first serial murderer.
Through it all, Holmes traveled throughout the U.S., committing insurance scams with his accomplice, Benjamin Petezel. Petezel, I think.
Yeah.
Once the World's Fair had ended, Chicago's economy was in a slump. Therefore, Holmes abandoned the castle and focused on insurance scams, committing random murders along the way. This little rascal.
See, that's the road trip movie I've been looking for.
Yeah. Like they just like play like a happy montage music going.
Doing insurance scam, killing lots of random people, doing my thing. It's kind of like The Devil's Rejects now that I think about it.
A little bit.
Yeah. All right.
Close.
Rob Zombie already made that movie. Never mind.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. It was a good one. During this time, Holmes stole horses from Texas, shipped them to St. Louis, and sold them, making a fortune. He was
once again, he just keeps coming up with different ways to make money.
But he was caught this time. He was arrested for this swindle and sent to jail.
Oh.
While in jail,
Well, not all. He's a murderer.
well, yeah, fuck this guy. While in jail, he concocted a new insurance scam with his cellmate, Marion Hedgepeth.
Marion.
Marion
Yeah.
Hedgepeth.
Hedgepeth?
Hedgepeth.
Hedgepeth. Marion Hedgepeth.
Holmes said he would take out an insurance policy for $10,000, fake his own death, and then provide Hedgepeth with $500 in exchange for a lawyer who could help him if any problems arose. Once Holmes was released from jail on bail, he attempted his plan. However, the insurance company was suspicious and did not pay him. Finally, someone suspected this guy.
Well, wasn't he using his own name to get these payouts? So at one point, isn't the insurance company like, dude, we've paid this guy like 30 fucking times?
But like, yeah, and Holmes isn't even his real name. He's Herman Webster Mudgett.
I mean, maybe he legally changed it, or maybe it was just as I mean, did people have IDs? I don't think you had IDs back then.
Says after graduating high school at 16, he changed his name, but it doesn't say if it was like official or because then in another part of the article it says that he went under this alias to own the pharmacy in the first place. So I have a feeling like it's just he was pretty good at kind of weaving a web.
Well, he clearly was a grifter, so I could see it.
So Holmes then decided to attempt a similar plan in Philadelphia. This time, he would have Petzel fake his own death. However, during this scam, Holmes actually killed Petzel and collected the money for himself.
That's what we call cleaning up your mess.
It's just like, you know what? This whole faking it ain't going to work, so I'm going to kill you. For real, dude. Sorry.
I don't know. You probably shouldn't trust that guy.
Like, why am I like thinking of like, I don't know, like a reference from 1,000 Ways to Die in the Old West where it's like, take off your hat, boy, that's $1. Because back then, like $500, they're like, hot dog.
This is life-changing money.
Like, right? In 1894, Marion Hedgepeth, who was angry that he did not receive any money in the initial scam, told police about the scam Holmes had planned. The police tracked Holmes, finally catching up to him in Boston, where they arrested him and held him on an outstanding warrant for the Texas horse swindle.
Damn, shouldn't have fucked with those horses.
So at the time of his arrest, Holmes appeared as if he was prepared to flee the country, and police became suspicious of him. Chicago police investigated Holmes's castle, where they discovered his strange and efficient methods for committing torturous murders. Many of the bodies that they located were so badly dismembered and decomposed that it was hard for them to determine exactly how many bodies there really were. The police that's rough. The police investigation spread through Chicago, Indianapolis, and Toronto. While conducting their investigation in Toronto, police discovered the bodies of the Petzel children who had gone missing sometime during Holmes's insurance fraud spree.
Oh, so he killed the kids. He killed the kids of the guy he killed on top of it.
This gets even this so
I
dark.
mean, we already knew he was a dick,
Like,
but
this
like,
is
damn.
dark.
Yeah.
Liking Holmes to their murders, police arrested him, and he was convicted of their murders. He also confessed to 28 other murders. However, through investigations and missing persons report, it is believed that Holmes is responsible for up to 200 murders. In May of 1896, one of America's first serial killers, H.H. Holmes, was hanged. The castle was remodeled as an attraction and named the Holmes Horror Castle. However, it burned to the ground shortly before its opening.
God smited that place.
Thank you, God, because yeah, let's not keep Murder Castle around, okay?
Oh man,
let them rest. Let all those poor 200 souls rest. Holy shit.
Well, it's kind of a weird thing because obviously all those people died and they were murdered, and that's horrible. But years later, what do we have? We have stories, we have video games, we have board games. There is a board game escaping the murder castle.
Huh.
There is a video game. It's done by Supermassive Games, and it is the season finale of their season 1 of Dark Pictures Anthology, which is kind of like interactive horror movies. It's a lot of fun. It's like a choose your own adventure. Anyways, the final one was called The Devil in Me, and it was about a serial killer who was inspired by H.H. Holmes and like recreated the murder castle because obviously in real life it burned down, and set up a documentary crew that was doing a documentary on H.H. Holmes to come to the murder castle that he created and basically does what Holmes does best. It was a walk around the block to get there, but it was a lot of fun. It was a great game.
I mean, you're pretty vulnerable when you're at a hotel, right? Like when you're on vacation, you're in a hotel. It's not your place. There's other people there. You don't know who just slept in that bed that you're in. Like there's some about hotels that are already creepy. Now on top of it, you got this guy. like what a horrible way to go.
Well,
Like, cause just trapped in a hotel. Like I said, like literally like a mouse in a maze, man. Like that's
yeah, dude, he's just behind there flipping switches
Yeah.
and like making things happen.
Yeah.
In the games, walls would move, so like you would like walk down a hallway, and once you turn a corner, it looked like you were in a dead end, and then you would turn around and go back the way you came, and because of the walls that moved, you were at a dead end. Things like that.
He
Like,
just sucks the oxygen out of the room. You just wake up choking to death.
oh man, you get dropped on spikes. The whole thing is like an Indiana Jones. It's like an escape room from hell.
Yeah, dude. Like, yeah. Honestly, this dude, hats off to you. You are the most effed up dude I can think of at the moment. Holy shit.
Congratulations.
Like,
You know what they should do is then because they're gonna make another Saw movie, where they are in the process of making it. So the last one that came out was Saw X, so it was technically Saw 10. It was funny because that series ended. It was like Saw the final chapter, and then they did some weird spin-off movies, and they were like, this one's called Spiral, and this one's called Jigsaw.
I actually thought Spiral was good.
I'm not saying it wasn't
the one
good.
with Chris Rock. I like that one.
Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying those spin-off movies were then tied into it. Like, oh no, those were proper sequels because then when we did a Saw movie, it was Saw 10, not Saw 8. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they made sure that you knew that the Spiral and Jigsaw, they're part of the series. So coming this year is going to be Saw 11. And where do you take Saw? And that's what you do, man. Have him. I know we had a house in the second film.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like traps. Do you know what I mean? Well,
Right.
it was traps, but I'm talking like H.H. Holmes stuff. Like have a hotel, like a house inspired H.H. Holmes Saw.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
I'm with that. That would, like I said, this freaks me out legitimately. Like this would be a horrible way to go. Like, yeah.
What do you think scarier is, like a hotel or an Airbnb? Because isn't it more likely
Airbnb.
Yeah, isn't it more likely an
someone lives
Airbnb?
there.
Exactly. Or if they don't live there, they own it. It's their summer home.
And like, yeah, just if you're in an Airbnb, like literally, we already know that they're having a problem with cameras and stuff like that. There's already a lot of problems. You hear about it all the time, and it's like, so yeah. On top of that, you go into a house that's owned by this weirdo, and the bed just kind of flips around.
Suddenly you're in spikes.
Yep.
You know, Airbnb, my cousin invited us up to a lake, and it was me, my wife, my cousin, and his girl. And long story short, we brought the baby too. Long story short, this woman was acting weird. She like wanted everybody at the house's address. Like, first of all, she knew more people were there than just my cousin. And it says in the rules, like up to 6 people. So he wasn't breaking any rules. But so we show up. And I guess he hadn't told them. And right away, she's like texting, like, who are these other people? So it's like, we know you're watching in like a ring
Isn't
cam
that
or
creepy?
something. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So-
hopefully, it's a ring camera and not inside.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyways, she says, and she asks for everybody's address because that's just part of her new policy. Well, long story short, it moves on. And then like all night, just weird comments like, make sure to put out the fire, do this, do that, and all that.
So weird.
Yeah. And then afterwards, a month, like 2 weeks later, she's trying to charge him for like smoke damage, and it's like they don't smoke. We had a baby. Like there was no smoking happening.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never done Airbnb, and I don't know if I even want to open up that can of worms for myself because yeah, you hear about stuff like that all the time. It's weird.
Well, I've had a lot of really good experiences with Airbnbs. This was just one of the bad ones.
I hear it's really
It's kind of
convenient.
like the same as a hotel, man. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes it's good, and other times you feel like you're going to be stabbed in the shower in a black and white montage.
I feel like if you're traveling like with a pet, like with a dog, Airbnb is really useful because you can't like really hold up at a hotel with a dog. So I guess
Very
that makes
few,
sense.
very few. We were in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and there was this super fancy, trendy hotel, and they were dog friendly, and that was weird because it was like, take this elevator up to the 6th floor, like it was a hotel,
Yeah.
but they're just like, yeah, have a dog, fuck it.
Yeah, you don't hear that often. So that's where I think Airbnb shines. But on the other hand, you could have an H.H. Holmes, and then you're dead.
And then you're dead.
Well, now you're dead.
Dun 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 dun.
Earthling Entertainment Special Report. So, Deadpool and Wolverine made $438 million this weekend at the worldwide box office, which makes it the #1 grossing R-rated movie weekend ever. And it made $211 million at the U.S. box office, which makes it the 6th highest grossing opening weekend of all time. So, Deadpool and Wolverine, I tip my hat to you. This has been an Earthling Entertainment Special Report.
Okay, guys, and with that, we're going to jump into our next segment, which is,
Ryan's Disclosure Discussion. It's about aliens and stuff.
Reports of jellyfish-like UFOs. This comes to us from coasttocoastam.com. Bizarre cases of jellyfish UFOs have come to light. Analyst Bob Spearing of MUFON recently spilled the beans to Daily Mail about these mysterious aerial objects. MUFON has studied drawings and photographs dating back to the 1970s of giant cloud-like mushrooms floating in the sky in Denmark. And there have also been more recent sightings in places such as Vancouver.
I'd say that is definitely the inspiration for Jordan Peele's film Nope, because spoiler for Nope. All right, you guys skip ahead. ... All right, so in Nope, it's basically sky jaws because it's not a UFO. It is a living creature that is an amorphous cloud-looking thing, maybe like a stingray, maybe like a jellyfish. In any case, it sucks you up and eats you, and it's horrifying.
Yes.
So I think this right here, these reports, is what inspired him to make that film.
And there was a jellyfish UFO that we had covered quite a long time ago that was on a Air Force base that we had. So like jellyfish UFOs, it's a thing. And I did hear about this recent report as well, and I even saw photos. Fascinatingly, Spearing shared details of encounters with indoor alien jellyfish, like the case in Singapore, where a woman was said to have been attacked by a squid-like object with bioluminescent tentacles. The creature, whatever it was, had attached itself to the back of the woman, and she felt pain. That's what woke her up, he said. Spearing was recently in news for revealing debris from a possibly downed alien craft.
Wow. So, jellyfish getting stung in the water, that always freaked me out. But the idea of flying like alien jellyfish that gets attached to me and sting, that's some Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah, dude.
I know you're not as big of a fan of Doctor Who. Well, I shouldn't say that. I know you haven't seen as much Doctor Who. But that is something they would do in that show. Like in this latest season, which is exclusively on Disney+, they rebooted it. So they're calling it season 1 again. Guys, it's season 15. In any case, there's this great episode, and there was like these giant caterpillar slug things that were just like eating everyone on the planet, but none of them noticed because it was like a reference to us staring at our phones. But like everybody had this orb around their head with all the news and articles and things like that, and they couldn't see the world around them, so much so that on the screens that they see, it showed them arrows of where to walk. So that's how they got to work. That's how they got to ever. So they did not look at the real world. Yeah. Anyways, they were all getting eaten by giant slugs.
Well, there you go. So that'll be us. But in our case, it will be jellyfish. Watch out for that jellyfish. Like, that would be the worst. You're just walking down the street. It's like, and then there's a jellyfish on your back.
Well, let's be honest, because we have good brains. Yeah, we do. We have found a way to not be on the bottom of a food chain. But what scares us in movies? It's monsters eating us, or it's like giant shark movies, or it's things like that. Like getting eaten, being prey, being in the food chain, not on top, is it's the most primal fear anyone could have. So yeah, flying alien creatures that want to eat us, especially jellyfish, because they're so not human. it's scary. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The less human you are, the harder it is for us to wrap our brains around it.
And we just have no idea what they're thinking. What's their motivation?
Yeah, and it's even creepier if there is no motivation. What if their motivation is you are food?
That's as bad as it gets, Joe.
That's horrifying.
So, watch out for jellyfish UFOs. Watch out.
Moving on.
The discovery of 2 gigantic crystal pyramids found at the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle. Little disclaimer. According to this article on UFOholic, 2 crystal pyramids have been discovered on the bottom of the ocean of the Bermuda Triangle. Here at Earthling Entertainment, we would like to inform our listeners that this conclusion / discoveries / claims are highly contested. But it's a really fun article nonetheless. Enjoy. This comes to us from UFOholic.com. Stories surrounding the Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle, a mysterious section of the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean, infamous for the purported disappearances of numerous aircraft and ships under baffling conditions, have been around since the 1950s. The lore includes tales from the 1960s about a shimmering glass pyramid found on the ocean floor, a discovery attributed to Dr. Brown during a dive in the Bahamas, which was mentioned in a 1980 episode of In Search Of. This story was intertwined with the existence of the Bimini Wall, forgive me, an underwater rock formation close to the North Bimini Island in the Bahamas. Modern ocean, God, why am I not reading right? Oceanographic experts such as Dr. Meyer Verlag have allegedly uncovered 2 giant pyramids, each triple the height of Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza.
Allegedly. Now, this would be cool. I mean, I would love it if we found anything that was remotely civilization under the water. And it makes a lot of sense because land masses have moved, oceans have changed, water has risen and fallen. I mean, just recently there was a very, very famous city that was just in the folklore of Indian culture. And they basically found it sunken like 100 miles into the water. And it's like, it's like when they found Troy. When they actually found Troy.
Oh, yeah. The Earth has gone through so many freaking changes.
It's crazy.
These structures, made from a mysterious crystalline material, were found at a depth of 2,000 meters. Dr. Mayer suggests that these findings could explain the numerous enigmatic vanishings in the Bermuda Triangle. Further investigations reveal that the technology required to construct such pyramids remains a mystery and is beyond current understanding.
Yeah, well, we don't know how they make pyramids on the land. So, assuming this was made underwater, it was most likely made on land and then drowned, like we talked about. But assuming, what if they made it underwater? We don't know how they did that.
No idea.
Actually, placing giant boulders that heavy might be easier if you were building it underwater. Oh my God! Maybe I figured it out. Maybe the whole world was like flooded, and we build the pyramids when it's flooded, and then the water recedes, and then there's pyramids. Like, how did they do it? Because things are easier to move under what? I figured it freaking out, Ryan.
You heard it here.
Yeah, how the Egyptians made the pyramids?
The whole
submarines.
It was Waterworld.
Submarines.
With Kevin Costner, he saved us all.
That's what we call nonsense. You know what's fucked up is if I talked long enough, I bet I could convince at least one person out in the world. I don't know who that person is, but I bet I could talk someone into that being like, that is how we did it.
There is one listener that just went, oh my God.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I've talked myself into it. I'm back in, Ryan. It was done with submarines. Continue.
Waterworld. The pyramid story. Among the various hypotheses surrounding these enigmatic structures is the idea that they were originally situated on land before a massive cataclysm shifted the landscape, potentially elucidating their current underwater location. Some posit that these pyramids could be connected to the legendary lost city of Atlantis.
Ooh.
The enormity of the pyramids, their polished surfaces, and the unknown materials from which they were constructed have left researchers baffled, necessitating further study to unravel these mysteries.
Yeah, because if it actually was made out of crystal, are we talking like crystal quartz? Which actually makes sense because quartz crystal reverberates at a certain vibration that excuse me. It vibrates.
It moves. It
what
moves
I was
really
gonna-
fast,
Yeah.
back and forth.
No, what I was gonna say is something about the Loch Ness monster. Basically, they have. I know. How are these connected?
Loch Ness monster.
Loch Ness is really steep and deep, and the sides are quartz, and that with limestone, I believe, reverberates at a certain frequency that they speculate might be making portals or windows into the past. So when you look out onto the loch and you see a dinosaur-looking creature that you might not actually be seeing a dinosaur creature, but just kind of like haze from heat off the sidewalk, you see like a mirage of into the past. Anyways.
Mind blown.
Yeah, so anyways, that's what I was talking about. So if it was quartz crystal and it's a giant pyramid, it could be used for energy, could be used for harnessing psychic abilities. I mean, the Great Pyramids of Giza, they have this wonderful theory that it is basically a generator of power.
Yes.
You know, with the crystal granite obelisks admitting the power, that the actual pyramid itself would be a hydroponic generator.
I have actually heard that theory that it could have been, who knows, in some way, shape, or form, used as like a power plant.
Yeah, that's the idea. So this could totally be from Atlantis if it exists. The Crystal Pyramid under the water, I buy it.
And there are pyramids all around the world, all different cultures. Just asking questions.
Just asking questions.
Nonetheless, a prevailing theory suggests that the discovery of these pyramids could lend credence to the notion that they were initially built as, like we said, sources of energy. This in turn might not only support the theory of Atlantis' existence, but also hint at the possibility of other yet to be discovered ancient settlements or even advanced civilizations that have vanished. So, that's a great story. Honestly, we talk about a lot of Bermuda Triangles here. Like every place calls themselves the Bermuda Triangle of wherever. It's good to actually
my
have a
living room
story.
is the Bermuda Triangle of my apartment.
It really certainly is. We have no idea what time it is.
But I do really like this story.
Me too.
Because I want them to find Atlantis. I think the chances of Atlantis being something like on the island, the continent of Mu, like the lost continent that the only remains of it now are like Hawaii and a few other islands. So my theory is that's where that would be. But I've heard a lot of people talking that it would be in the Bahamas, and they have a lot of good reason, like what we just read, to think that it might be in the Bahamas. And then the other one is the Mediterranean Sea, even though, beyond the Mediterranean Sea is what Plato said. He said beyond the pillars of Jupiter, I think.
Okay.
So that would be the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea. So it does make sense that it could be in the Bermuda Triangle because it would be quite a march, but that is beyond the pillars of Jupiter.
And I feel like talking about the future, like when we look to the future, what technology is going to bring us, I feel like ocean exploration doesn't get talked about enough. We'll get better submersibles. We'll get better, robot submersibles or whatever we're putting down there to investigate. They'll be faster. They'll be able to, pretty soon we will be able to navigate, hopefully the entire ocean floor. Who knows what we'll find?
Well, I know we've only looked at like less than 10 or 20%.
Yeah,
and you know what the reason why is? The ocean is 70% of the Earth's surface. We know that. But the difference is the ocean isn't surface. It is 3 dimensions. It's up, down. It would be like if human civilization, if we could all just hover in any way we want. So we built and lived our lives going up, down, sideways. But so 70% is actually a lot more.
Yeah.
If you think about it. So
You
there's
can
more,
take a picture.
there's more ocean than there is anything else. We are so lucky. I mean, assuming you guys like water, I like water. We are so lucky.
The
I mean,
basis of all life.
even Mars, they got to deal with mostly ice.
They do have ice.
They do have ice.
They do have polar caps. It's crazy. And like I said, so who knows? Maybe someday we'll, because you could take a picture from one point of view to the Earth, and it's just all ocean. Like people forget that like there is a whole side of the Earth that is just all ocean.
There's just a lot of ocean. That's what they believe that lost continent of Mu's at, just
Mhm.
like I was saying.
Yep.
And just to say, another place, Europa, is a moon of Jupiter, and it is basically an ice ball with liquid oceans in between a molten core.
Yes, they've
So
seen it
using-
plume.
Yeah, so using chemical synthesis, there could very well be like space whales.
Oh, there's 100% life on Europa. I literally would go ahead and stake all my money on it, like 100%, because I remember we flew a satellite nearby, and then all of a sudden, all of its instruments were like going weird, and they're like, "What the heck just happened?"
So you think intelligent biological extraterrestrial entities?
I don't know if they're intelligent, but definitely like sea monsters and shit. Like
Why-
God knows what in
Sea
there.
monsters? That would be
Oh
nuts.
yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh yeah.
no! Like things that are giant, or even things that are small, because that's scary. Because they could swim
Yeah.
into like your nose, and then suddenly you have
Yes.
an alien controlling your brain. Maybe the aliens from the faculty come from Europa.
That's a possibility. But dude, when the instruments went
Faculty,
haywire,
great movie.
it was because they realized it got hit by a geyser. Like literally, it plumed a geyser of water. That's proof that the inner of it is hot. And then you've got
they got Yellowstoned.
and then you've got ocean, and then you've got the layer of frozen tundra, whatever it is on Europa. So underneath that
Yeah, it's
There's
got
water.
liquid oceans. Yeah,
Yes.
and like I said, with chemical synthesis, which from the core of the being, I guess celestial being, because it's a moon, but there very well could be space whales. Yeah.
I think this is a very successful disclosure discussion.
Disclosure discussion. Hey guys, you know what that means? That brings us to the second half of the show. And as we mentioned at the beginning, the second half of the show is all dedicated to entertainment.
Oh yeah.
So music, video games, movies, in the future, we're going to have this really fun game. I'm going to tell you guys now, we're cooking up a game with 4 contestants, and it's going to be in a upcoming episode. And the game is it's kind of like an improv game, and it's all about pitching movie sequels. So be on the lookout for that. But for now, we're going to jump into our first section of part 2 of our show.
Music mumbles.
Gojira felt pressure to rep the whole metal community at Olympic opening ceremony.
So just remind the listeners who don't know, who is Gojira?
Gojira is a French metal band, really heavy metal band, arguably death metal. They're always been in the spotlight. They're just such a great band. I'm gonna go see them soon with Korn, and they're pretty environmental. A lot of their songs are about like saving the ocean, the whales. They did a song called Amazonia, which was really dedicated to the rainforest and such.
Yeah.
And
So even though they're death metal, they seem to be, at least in some regard, activists.
and they won a Grammy
Or
for
cool
Amazonia.
guys. Oh, they won a Grammy?
They straight up won a Grammy for that, and they were nominated for a Grammy before that. So that was the second nomination, first win for them. So they're not just your average metal band. They're making waves. And how cool is this? Because I'm a metalhead. I grew up a metalhead, and you don't often see death metal bands getting any kind of mainstream respect. And here we go. So this comes to us from metalsucks.net. I love this website. They're pretty opinionated.
Metalsucks.net always write in the first person. So even though we're reading it in the first person, this is the author of the article's words, not Ryan's.
Exactly. I don't know about you, but I'm still hype as fuck after Gojira fucking showed up and nailed it during their segment of the Olympics opening ceremony in Paris this past Friday. Say what you will about them as a band, but the quartet of Frenchmen tore it up on the main stage, making history by performing the song A Kaira with opera singer Marina Viotti. Over the last few days, it's been impossible to not see the clips of their performance, which I just showed Joe. It was awesome.
It really was awesome. They were playing on what looked like
The front of the castle.
Well, but on like balconies to that castle with a bunch of flames and cool things going on underneath.
And they had all like the opera singers like doing like the all like the refrain like
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of our listeners watch the Olympics, but I assume most people watch the Olympics, at least in passing. So I'm sure you guys saw it, but it was very cool.
I'll be honest, like this is, this grabbed me because, like I said, I'm a metalhead, so this is just like this really spoke to me here. So nearly every metal fan was in agreement that it rocked, and that's damn near impossible to get two metalheads to agree on anything. Looking back on the performance, Gojira frontman Joe Duplantier told the New York Times that the song was chosen because it directly ties to the French Revolution, and they did open up with like the
Marie Antoinette
holding her head. It's doing a refrain of the chorus in the beginning. Hence, hence the decapitated Marie Antoinette that was present in nearly every window. So they had one in every window. I didn't know. We didn't see that. We just saw a short clip of it.
Yeah, she was in between the flames too. It was definitely a theme going on.
And just for some context, the conciergerie was a castle that was converted into a prison where nearly 2,800 prisoners, including Marie Antoinette, were jailed and sentenced before meeting their fate at the guillotine.
And that's the castle they were playing on.
Right, so it's kind of funny. Like this story actually, like the whole history and everything, that totally tracks with our show. This is a good article. According to Joe, not this Joe, the band felt, the singer of the band, an intense pressure to represent the whole metal community on the world stage. I can only imagine what it must have felt like knowing so many normies around the world would have Gojira's sound thrust upon them and instantly become a surrogate for the entire genre in that moment. Still, it's hard to imagine a scenario where no one saw that and instantly wanted to be a rock star in that moment. How many kids do you think were inspired to pick up a guitar, to seek out drum lessons? Gotta be scores of them. Because, yeah, dude, they looked like they were having a blast.
It was powerful, to say the least. Yeah, and it's like, even if you're not a fan of the music, you could appreciate what it was about.
It like I said, this is great because, like, yeah, metalheads
energy up, man.
Yeah, metalheads just don't get the love they deserve, in my opinion. And this was like faith restored in the world a little bit here. In the wake of their performance, metal musicians joined the fans in their praise for Gojira's showing. Korn drummer, like I said, they're going on tour. I'm gonna see them with Spirit Box, Gojira, and Korn. So Korn drummer Ray Luzier said, quote, "Dudes, I had chills on chills. So fucking proud of you guys. Can't wait to crush stages with you guys soon." Similarly, Gary Holt praised the performance on Gojira's drummer Mario Duplantier's post, saying it was pretty much the coolest thing that has ever been done in metal, I'd say. And that's saying a lot coming from him. We all totally agree there. We even have a post here from his Instagram.
From the drummer's Instagram.
Yes. What a tremendous honor to be part of this ambitious and epic ceremony in Paris. I have to admit that headbanging in front of 1 billion people, hitting as hard as I could, and you could tell he was, in a revolutionary scenery made of fire and blood, was very gratifying experience. A big step for the metal community as well. Special thanks to the coolest, and he added a bunch of people I can't pronounce. But holy crap, hashtag Olympics 2024. Holy crap. This is, like I said, I agree. Monumental for the metal community.
Why do you want to say medical?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why I keep saying
Congratulations to the metal community, not the medical community. Although anyone in the medical community who likes metal, yeah. Congratulations. That was a really fun thing. You just couldn't do it.
I don't know why. It just kept happening to me. Anyways, awesome. Way to go, Gojira. I can't wait to see them. I'm going to see them at the Pine Knob in September.
Yeah, and that is a big outside amphitheater. It's one of the biggest showings. Do you have lawn or seats?
Totally lawn.
But you like lawn, don't you?
Yeah, I do, honestly. Yeah, I like to... I don't know. I'm old school. Sometimes I don't like having to have somebody constantly check my ticket when I go to use the bathroom.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Well, I liked Hollywood Bowl in obviously Hollywood. That was the only place I've ever seen a concert where I sat down. I never went to concerts where I sat down. Or I guess I personally never sat down.
I think one time I bought seats, and that was for I believe, a Mayhem Fest, and King Diamond was there, so that was why I got seats. And yeah, it was irritating because I didn't have my phone on me at the time. I think my ex-wife had it, and so they wouldn't let me get to my seat, and it was like this whole to-do. It was like this whole thing where I'm like, literally, dude, like, just let me get to my seat. I'll show you.
That's where I am. What do you want me to do?
Right. And he was just like, sure, no, sure. And I'm just like, dude. So yeah, honestly, you're right. I prefer lawn because yeah, no one really tends to fuck with you.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, guys. So are you ready? You want to perhaps jump into some headlines, Ryan?
I do want to jump into some headlines with the medical community, Joe.
Earthling Entertainment headlines.
Kevin Smith's semi-autobiographical The 430 movie centers on 80s teen cinephiles. This comes to us from IndieWire.com. Kevin Smith has often blurred the lines between documentary and fiction. With semi-autobiographical film The 430 movie, the writer/director is tapping into his New Jersey teen years. Smith wrote and directed the feature that is billed as his most personal film to date. That's saying a lot. The coming-of-age story stars Clerks 3 actor Austin Zadger as Brian David, a teen cinephile and Smith surrogate who regularly sneaks into movie theaters.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool, right? Like he took this thing that meant a lot to him when he was a child and tried to like basically John Hughes his life. You know, now it's a nice little homage to that era of movies. I believe they even say that in the article. Like it's a coming of age teen movie. And that's fun because a lot of times Kevin Smith stuff is strictly R, and that's good for the generation who loves it like me. Yoga Hosers went a little bit too young apparently, but hey, I'm down for this.
Yeah, and you know, it's important for each generation to kind of have their Breakfast Club, like their Goonies, and I think that this is kind of Kevin Smith trying to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
and who knows? This could be some kid's Breakfast Club.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It looked the preview looks amazing. Definitely watch it, guys.
And as a cinephile myself, I'm just going to enjoy it because I love Kevin Smith films.
And just reminding everybody, yeah, this is called the 430 movie, and here's the synopsis. 3 16-year-old friends who spend their Saturdays sneaking into movies at the local Cineplex. When one of the guys invites the girl of his dreams to see an R-rated film, all hilarity breaks loose as a self-important theater manager, played by Ken Jeong, and
yeah, he's the Asian gentleman from Community. He was in The Hangover. He was the naked Asian guy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And teen rivalries interfere with his best laid plans. The film takes place in the summer of 1986 and includes cameos from former Smith collaborators Justin Long, Rosario Dawson, Jason Biggs, Jason Mewes, Jason Lee, Logic Rachel Dratch, Ralph Garman, Adam Pally, Sam Richardson, Cliff Method Man Smith, and Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, also star. The 430 movie is described in press notes as a poignant comic valentine to movie-going and the youth of the 80s.
Yeah.
Smith thanked audiences for giving me an extended adolescence in the notes. The 430 movie premieres September 13th in theaters from Saban Films. Check out the trailer below. I know.
Obviously, you can't check out the trailer below.
No, yeah. Obviously, I always read the whatever on the teleprompter here. but yeah, definitely check out the preview. We just watched.
You can find it on YouTube. It's really easy. Just a simple Google search.
Once again, the 430 movie by Kevin Smith.
Yeah, and it's funny because I guess we're 90s kids essentially, right? Because we were kids in the 90s.
Yes.
We were born in the late 80s. But because we were kids in the 90s, we watched movies that were not that old, only like less than 10 years, which ended up being 80s movies.
Correct.
So growing up with 80s movies is just part of our generation. So I really appreciate Kevin Smith trying to do one of these.
And there's no one better for the job. I love Kevin. I always have. You know, maybe I'm a little biased, but gosh, I love that man.
I do too. And you know what helps with that is the fact that he's not a nepotism kid. Like he basically built not basically. He did everything himself. He was a lower middle class person from New Jersey who basically took a big risk and used $23,000 worth of credit cards. He made clerks on credit cards and just hoped for the best.
Yep. He is literally, I believe he calls Clerks the little movie that could.
A little movie that could. 1994.
Yeah. He took a huge, and he worked there during the day and filmed during the night.
Absolutely. And Miramax with the Weinsteins obviously got, that the guys ended up being a terrible person, but they saw this indie film and they bought it and put it out for distribution, and that's really cool.
I couldn't imagine a life without Kevin Smith films. I'm just being honest. I can't.
There's a lot of things from the childhood that I still have a lot of strong nostalgia for, and one of those is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which actually brings us to our headline number 2.
Tales of the TMNT confirms return of beloved mutants while revealing opening for the first time.
So, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a continuation of the last year film Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. They changed the art style a little bit because it's not computer generated, it is drawn, but they still look the same, and it's the same voice actors, the same kids, so pretty cool. But
Okay.
It's a new show coming out to Paramount Plus. Here we go.
This comes to us from IGN.com. Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the next chapter of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles saga. But it also brings back a few deep-cut characters that fans may remember. The cast and crew of the animated spin-off show attended San Diego Comic-Con 2024 to talk more about how the series bridges the gap between last year's reboot, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and its eventual sequel. We attended the
Coming out 2026.
Nice. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem and its eventual sequel. We attended the panel and learn more about how Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles not only looks ahead, but calls back to the franchise's past too. In addition to the 4 half-shelled heroes is a list of classic faces, some of which date back as much as 20 years ago. That includes Metalhead, a robot turtle.
Do you remember the robot turtle?
I do.
I had that action figure.
I did too, I think. Who's been given a more pleasant appearance this time around. Another returning character is Pigeon Pete, played by Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
That character is ridiculous.
From Kick-Ass.
Yeah, that character is, it seems like there's something wrong with his brain. He's very funny.
The humanoid pigeon character first made an appearance in the 2012 iteration of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, with Yost teasing that Mintz-Plasse really came to play when recording his lines. With a solid selection of familiar faces comes new characters too, including the East River 3, a trio of mutants, Goldfin, Lee the Eel, and Mustang Sally, played by Timothy Oliphant, Jillian Bell, and Danny Trejo. Nice. The Machete. The Tales
You gotta have Danny Trejo, man.
You got to, man.
I
You
will
got
put
to.
Danny Trejo in anything.
Dude, hell yeah.
There's a documentary, I think it's called Inmate Number 1, and it tells his tale of like being in jail and in gangs and like having to do all that dark stuff, and then just being like, and then I, found a way into acting.
And now he's like super into like rescuing dogs and stuff like that. Like he's just become like the best person ever.
Well, yeah, he seems like a really nice guy. A few blocks from my house, and next to I had this weird day job. It was called Frog Frozen Yogurt, once again in Hollywood, and right next to it was Trejo's Tacos.
Trejo's Tacos.
So he has a taco place. It's in Hollywood, and it was so good.
I bet that was.
Yeah. A little expensive, but it's what comes to be expected if you're gonna live or go and visit a place like that. Touristy places cost money.
Exactly. The Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles panel also brought a lot of first look clips from the show itself, including a selection of videos personally chosen by the cast behind the Turtles. Each clip highlights Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo's strengths, while also showing off the show's 2D art style. The real highlight might be the show's opening title sequence, though, as it encapsulates the energy of mutant mayhem with upbeat rock music set to snappy visuals that look as if they were sketched in a high school notebook.
Which is the style that the film was in. So.
Right. It was like really scratchy. It was weird. It was like sketchy. It was cool.
Yeah, I know you go back and forth with whether or not you liked it.
At times it took me out of it, but I liked what they were doing. You know what I mean? I liked what they went for, but there were times that, I couldn't help but...
The odd shapes of people's faces.
Yeah. Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles performances premieres on Paramount Plus on August 9th of 2024. So that's right around the corner here.
Yeah, and I'm excited to introduce my son to new Ninja Turtles.
And this is a good one. They got kids voicing the turtles. I liked that about Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah, they as what's his name? Seth Rogen would say, they didn't ignore the teenage aspect of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Exactly. And that was a good one. If you still haven't seen Mutant Mayhem, totally worth a watch. So that brings us to our next headline. Ho Ho Horror in the teaser trailer and new poster for Terrifier 3. This comes to us from Rumorg.com. There's now a preview of the holiday fear Art the Clown is bringing to theaters nationwide in October. Cineverse releases Terrifier 3, the third in writer-director Damien Leone's highly successful and extremely bloody series on October 11th. David Howard Thornton is back, of course, as the murderous Art the Clown, and Lauren Lavera, Samantha Scafidi, Elliot Fulham, and Chris Jericho returning from Terrifier 2, joined by horror vets Daniel Roebuck and Clint Howard, and Tanella Rose, Chris Fox, John Abrahams, and Jason Patrick. The synopsis.
Jason Patrick?
Thank you. It's just it only had one C, so I thought I'd put a little stank on it.
I've heard of Jason Patrick. So,
well, then there you go. The synopsis: Art the Clown is set to unleash chaos on the unsuspecting residents of Miles County as they peacefully drift off to sleep on Christmas Eve.
So you really don't need more of a synopsis than that. Look, it's a killer clown. This one takes place on Christmas. If you like the other two, you're gonna like this one. Ryan, you are one of those people who really liked the other two, didn't you?
They were really good. The second one, they really took them on a freaky spin. Like, they went way more paranormal. The first one was just like a really effed up gore film.
Like he was just all right. So the first one, he's a serial killer.
The first one, yeah, he's just a killer and he's effed up and it's gory and it's chilling, and he appears in a former movie, and I forget what that one was called.
That movie was called Tales from Halloween or Tales of Halloween. Yeah. But anyways, it was, I know what you're saying, it was an anthology film, and Art the Clown premiered in one of those shorts.
And he was more like the first Terrifier in that one as well, where it was just effed up and really, really effed up. Like, spoiler alert, I believe he just, like, basically you wake up and, all your limbs have been amputated. Made sure that you could live, though.
Unfortunate.
That would be terrible. You're basically a stump now.
Yeah. If I can go my whole life without losing a limb, I'll call it a win. Yeah, that would not be a fortunate scenario. So I hope no one has to deal with that.
And in Terrifier 2, it was gory and fucked up too, but they really, really tried to push Art into like the world of the paranormal, where like not only can he get you in real life, but he's kind of like can get inside your head. Like he can almost take you into like a whole nother dimension with him. Like
a little bit of a Freddy Krueger type thing.
Pretty close.
So, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did they explain that at all, or was it just something that he could do now?
I would have to give it another watch. I'm going to be honest with you. I only saw it once, so don't quote me on it. I want to say that they kind of had an explanation, but at the same time, I think they kind of just left it to being a little more artsy.
Sure.
No pun intended for Art the Clown.
Well, I know Terrifier 2 blew up in popularity, and it really did. So what are you personally expecting from Terrifier 3? Or I should say, is there anything you want to see? Perhaps do you want them to explain some more mythology here?
I mean, since they did it in the second one, I would like them to elaborate a little further on how Art the Clown seems to be this entity
magic.
Like where's his magic, this dark magic he's got? Why was he able to do all the things that he was in the last film? You know what I mean? Out of nowhere. It was out of nowhere, but it was cool. Like, don't get me wrong. So
I got to rewatch them in a row, right? Like maybe there's a little thing. Maybe they allude to it in some way.
I saw the first one many more times than the second. I only saw the second one once, and from the first one, it was just a cut and dry slasher, gory, fucked up film to me. I didn't see any kind of hint at anything like really paranormal about them. But with the second one, like I said, they definitely did. So with this third one, I'm hoping that they keep it a little bit more campy. I want it to be a little bit more like the first one, where it's like real life shit could happen. I want to see more of that, Tim, because to me that's more scary about Art, because he is just so cut and dry, fucked up, and doesn't give a shit about just cutting you piece by piece, smiling, laughing in your face the whole time.
That body horror always does freak me out. My favorite horror movies are more supernatural, kind of like ghosts and stuff like that. But if we're going straight serial killer, I'm a Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th kind of guy, where he's just killing you pretty much with whatever's laying around. But someone who meticulously tortures and like takes you apart, that's a different level of scary. So
And at the end of the day, I get it. People play clowns, but at the end of the day, he's a clown. He's not a person. It's like the same thing why zombies are freaky. Like the zombies, it's freaky. Like that thought is fucked up. So you got this person who's a clown and he's smiling and cutting you to pieces. Like that adds to it.
Well, if they're going the more supernatural route, you could argue that maybe Art the Clown is going to be more of a spirit or a demon and less of a human who's crazy. Maybe
So kind of like it.
Well, it was a straight up alternate dimension / alien.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that, but I'm saying maybe a demon, like a straight up, like, I am from hell. I come up here and harvest souls. I don't want them to necessarily take a religious aspect. I'm just saying.
I hope they explain a little bit, but at the same time, I just want Art to be fucked up again. Like, and he was in the second one. Don't get me wrong, but I want to see that really.
You want to see more of the serial killer kind of thing. Well, I wonder what it is about third movies where I don't have a lot of examples, but I have a couple where in the third movie they're like, suddenly we're going Christmas.
It works.
It does. It's just strange when they do it. Like Vacation, that series, the third one is Christmas Vacation. They go Christmas. Harold and Kumar. The third movie is a very Harold and Kumar Christmas, I believe.
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3's Christmas. It wasn't a third one, but then you have Daddy's Boy 2.
Daddy's Boy 2.
Suddenly it's a Christmas one.
I love that. Like, that is so one of my favorite Christmas movies. I'm not even kidding. That and Why Him.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Why Him is such a good Christmas movie, and no one gives it the love it deserves, I think.
It doesn't feel like a Christmas movie at all. It takes place in L.A. There's no Christmas ideography. He has a Christmas card that's tattooed on his back.
And it ends at Christmas.
I'm not saying that it's not as Christmas in it, but
It
to
was
me, it does not feel like a Christmas movie.
It's totally a Christmas movie.
I'm not, all right. But you know what else? Bad Moms. The second one, Bad Moms Christmas.
Well, and it's a good route to take. Like you said, Harold and Kumar, like that literally is one of my favorite Christmas movies as well. Like, dude,
well, I think it's because Christmas movies have a built-in audience.
It's a jolly day to die. Bet you wish you weren't so fucking high. That movie's amazing.
Yeah. All right, guys. So if you are a fan of killer clowns or very gory movies or fucked up serial killers, then keep an eye out for Terrifier 3. This time it takes place on Christmas.
Coming to you October 11th.
That's right. Now we're moving on to headline number 4. So this headline, guys, you've heard it unless you've been under a rock. This is not a headline that's going to blow anyone's mind, but because it's big news and we're interested, we thought we would cover it. Ryan, what is headline number 4?
Robert Downey Jr. to play Dr. Doom in Avengers Doomsday. This comes to us from IGN.com. The Kang Dynasty is no more, or rather, it never was.
Oh!
Marvel Studios took to Hall H at this year's San Diego Comic-Con to make some big announcements about Avengers 5. Avengers 5.
Don't do it.
This MCU's Phase 6 tentpole isn't just getting a new title. It's also getting an all-new villain to serve as the multiverse's biggest threat. Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, is now Avengers Doomsday. Welcome to the MCU, Dr. Doom. More than that, the biggest shock of the event was that Doom will be played by none other than RDJ. Wait, what? That might be a big change for the film, but Disney is turning to some familiar faces to lead the way. Marvel has also revealed it has named 2 famous alums have as directors for the next 2 Avengers films, Joe and Anthony Russo.
They're the guys who did the other Avenger films.
Yay! Are returning to the MCU for Doomsday and Secret Wars.
What? Secret Wars, by the way, Secret Wars is going to be the end of the multiverse saga. That is where all the worlds have collapsed into one planet, which is known as Battle World. I'm sure they'll change the name. And all the Marvel characters are forced to fight in a tournament.
You know what they call the toads there?
No.
Battle Toads.
That was a stupid reference, but I give you
That was
credit.
a great reference.
I give
man.
you credit.
Come
I like
on.
Battletoads. They're my favorite Ninja Turtle ripoff.
That game was
them
so
and Street
hard.
Sharks.
That game was so hard. Joe and Anthony Russo are returning to the MCU. Russo are returning to the MCU for Doomsday and Secret Wars. Reportedly, Stephen McFeely will also be McFeelin returning to the pen in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars scripts. As for Downey, this is a massive and wild bit of news. The multiverse is real, surely, but what will everyone think when Dr. Doom turns out to look just like Tony Stark? Will he be Tony Stark from another Earth? What does it all mean? In either case, Downey appeared on stage in full green to take his rightful bow. You never leave the MCU, I guess. And he did the big reveal taking off the mask.
Yeah.
Which was sweet.
It was very sweet. But, my personal opinion is what I would do and what I believe they're probably going to do is this is just going to be an alternate Tony Stark from a different planet. Whereas our Tony Stark had the experience in Iron Man in the cave, which turned him into Iron Man. This Tony Stark has a negative experience or positive, whatever. It turns him into Dr. Doom.
Yes. And I love all the memes about this because the one meme from Tropic Thunder, I know who I am. I'm a dude dressed as a dude playing another dude. Because that's literally what that is. That's quite literally what if you are correct, and this is just an alternate Tony Stark who went down that route, because we do know that did exist in a comic book or whatever, then yeah, there's that. I don't know. There's a part of me that I love RDJ so much, that I believe in him so much, I could see him just playing Dr. Doom.
Okay, so Victor Von Doom, the character.
Yes.
You think he was just Victor Von, and he just happens to look exactly like Tony Stark? To me, that's why I have an issue with it. Is it's just like you just happen to look exactly like Tony Stark?
I could look past it. I'm hard up for an example right now, to be honest, but I've seen stuff where they've had to replace actors before, and I'm just like, okay. You know what I mean? Like so to me it would be.
It always bothers me, like Terrence Howard being replaced by Don Cheadle. Like anytime I watch Don Cheadle in the MCU, to me it's never that character who was Tony Stark's friend in the first Iron Man, and it's supposed to be the same character.
Yeah, and he got screwed.
I'm just saying, like when they replace characters. Unfortunately, the thing happened with a character, Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
So he was in the first Hulk movie. William Hurt. He played in a big part in Civil War with trying to be the guy telling him to do the Sokovia Accords. Do you remember who I'm talking about? The guy with the mustache?
No.
He was the general with the mustache.
I don't know why I can't remember.
All right, well, it's not important. Long story short, though, he died, like the actor died, and he's being replaced with Harrison Ford. So Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, is our new Thunderbolt Ross, and he's going to be in the new Captain America Brave New World.
And he's going to be Red Hulk, right?
And he's going to be Red Hulk.
That's right. You told me that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All you need to know about Red Hulk is Thunderbolt Ross was always jealous of the power that the Hulk had, and he wanted to contain it. And so he eventually turns into Red Hulk. Also, that villain from that first Hulk movie in the MCU, the Edward Norton one, at the very end, the lab guy who falls down and he hits his head, and then weird little drops of Hulk blood land on his brain, and his brain starts bubbling, and he looks at the camera and he smiles.
I never saw that one.
Long story short, that villain is coming back, and he's one of the villains in Brave New World, the Captain America 3 movie.
Badass. I'm here for new Captain America. I like that they're keep going. I love that they're gonna keep going because it's like they'll nail it. They're gonna nail it soon. They're gonna do this.
Well,
this is going to be a good one. This
People
is gonna,
say that Deadpool and Wolverine, like Marvel's back. Would you agree?
I agree, baby. And with having Harrison Ford as Red Hulk, I'm fucking here for it.
Yeah. And there's
So
a snake called the Harrison 40. Just saying. Continue.
Harrison 40. So yes, back to RDJ playing Dr. Doom in Avengers Doomsday. Disney fired Jonathan Majors in new tab last December.
Yeah, so Jonathan Majors was fired last December after his trouble with the law in the
It says here domestic violence.
Yeah.
Not too good. He played variants of Kang the Conqueror on Loki, and he did do a good job there. And in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
Everyone hates Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I didn't get to finish it, but I was enjoying it. I don't know why. I just never finished it. I think I watched the first half. I'm going to have to get back in there.
For whatever reason, a lot of people didn't like it. Anyways, yeah, so Kang was in that, and he was defeated. And Kang was in Loki Season 1, and he was defeated. And wasn't he killed in Loki Season 2?
I believe he was killed. Yeah, like I said, I only gave that one watch, and there was so much going on with that. That was an epic story. Yeah, if you haven't seen Loki Season 2, that shit's crazy ride. They did a great job.
Well, in any case, what I'm getting at is Kang the Conqueror was supposed to be this guy that even though he dies, you can't really kill him because there's a version of him in the multiverse and he's dangerous in every version. Well, since he fucked himself on it and has screwed up his own career, he is basically just not going to show up again, I guess. And I was thinking, how do you reconcile that? How do you make that like, why is that okay? Because you were setting him up to be the big bad. And then I was like, well, he did die in everything he was in. So he's dead. Maybe he doesn't come up again. Or maybe we bring him back 10 years from now and he looks different. Or maybe everyone forgives Jonathan Majors eventually and we bring him back that way. It depends. Because he did get convicted of a lesser charge. Like it's not good. I'm not saying he's a good person. I'm just saying like it's not as extreme as the charges first made it seem. Oh, I don't even know if I want to say that, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, it's a real gray area. And so now we know that the franchise is going in a whole new direction since that happened.
That's good.
With an even more famous comic book villain, which, Dr. Doom. Everyone knows Dr. Doom. Like
better
that
than
iconic.
Kang.
Yeah, who the hell is Kang? I didn't know. Like I had to learn, with the movies and the shows and stuff, who the heck he was. So yeah, to bring Dr. Doom, it's brilliant. While the film is going in a new Doom direction with its big baddie, it's going down a familiar path with its directors. You said Russo brothers are coming back to their superhero home. Marvel Studios used Hall H to confirm previous reports. The co-directors of Captain America: Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame are officially returning for more Avengers fun.
Well, they have a good Marvel track record, that's for sure.
Damn right. Loki creator and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I like that one too.
I did too.
Writer Michael Waldron is penning the script for Avengers blank. So I guess they don't want to tell us yet.
Well, it's Avengers Secret Wars. They're not saying it's Secret Wars, but it's Secret Wars.
It's Secret Wars. Yeah. Marvel has also tasked him with writing Secret Wars.
Wait. So maybe they're talking about Doomsday. Maybe they just forgot to write in the name in the article.
Whoopsie dangles. That's even so. These two films are reportedly to feature more than 60 characters, and that's even more than Infinity War and Endgame. So it's no surprise Kevin Feige wants people he knows can handle a massive cast. The question now is how Earth's mightiest heroes will handle Dr. Doom.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. Can you imagine if Hitler shows up and it's just he pulls off his mask and you're like, holy fuck, dude, that's Bono. Bono's evil?
Well, I'll be.
I don't know. In my head, I was going to say Jesus. And then I'm like, no, Bono. He's better.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, Ryan, how do you feel about him coming back?
I like it. I love RDJ. Like I said, I could see either way. I could see what you said, or I could just see him just playing Dr. Doom. Because he's such a good actor. He could literally change his voice, his whole stance, everything. He could be a different person.
I do agree with that. And here's the thing is Robert Downey Jr., he I think he feels as though he owes a lot to the character of Tony Stark. He said in interviews that like Tony Stark's in his blood. Like it is the closest to him character he's ever played. And let's be honest, his career, because of his own actions, was on a down slope.
Yeah.
And they took a chance on him to be Iron Man. John Favreau and I believe Kevin Feige were like really pushing it. They wanted him to be Iron Man, and the studio took a risk. And it worked beautifully. And he knows that his career as it is now, him winning, didn't he win an Oscar for Oppenheimer? I think he did. But
Yeah. Yeah, I know he did.
well, whether he did. Okay, well, even being nominated, like that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for what he did with Marvel. And I also get like, okay, so you want to come back, but you don't want to fuck up the legacy. Like Tony Stark went out beautifully. So how do you bring him back? Well, this is a brilliant way of doing that.
I agree. It's a way of bringing him back without bringing him back.
Without ruining the sacrifice Tony Stark made, because it would be a little sad to just suddenly be like, hey guys, I saved the universe and I'm back. There aren't any consequences.
Yeah, that just doesn't sit right. And I always felt like if they ever did the time travel thing again and like they tried to bring him back, I imagine that I could like already hear the scene where he's just like, so you're trying to tell me that I died in the future, blah, blah. Nope, I'm going to stay here. Like, I know he would be like, so what's your question? I'll help you out, but then on your way. Like, I don't think you know what I mean? He doesn't seem like the character that would be like, oh, save me.
It's true. It's true. In Doctor Who, they would say that it was a fixed time in history. So time travel is something you can't change because it's like a fixed point.
Right. So I really think they're going to do it justice. I honestly am excited for it, and I honestly have no fears at all. I don't think there's any way that they're going to screw this up because I know that RDJ will not sign up on to another Marvel knowing it's not the right thing to do. So, and like you said, he owes the character justice, so I believe in him. I just can't imagine what it's going to be like in 10, 20 years when some poor jerk has to frickin' try to play Iron Man and like research because it's just like...
Eventually everything gets rebooted.
Exactly. So it will happen and just... That's going to be a hard...
I don't know if it'll be 20 years, though. They might keep pushing this continuity for a while.
They might.
Who knows?
They might. We'll see.
Marvel being on a crazy roll, it's just the way it is. Deadpool and Wolverine did very well at the box office, so much so that it's giving other projects some hope of being made when they otherwise wouldn't be able to.
And he's been playing Wolverine for 25 years. So
what are you talking about? I had a perfect transition, Ryan.
You did. And I ruined it spectacularly. It's King Spawn. Todd McFarlane believes Deadpool and Wolverine's box office success will help R-rated reboot get greenlit. This comes to us from CBR.com.
Do you remember the first Spawn movie?
I do. Very well.
Came out in the 90s. John Leguizamo was in it. He played an evil clown.
My mom took me to see it. I'm not kidding. We both my mom thought it was the dumbest thing ever. I thought it was sweet.
It was a rated R movie.
Crazy.
Well, that and they made 3 Spawn movies on HBO that were animated. So Spawn's had some outings before. It's a really cool character where basically my understanding is you go to hell because he was a soldier or whatever. But the point is the devil randomly will pick someone to be his general, the general of his army. And this character goes to hell and becomes the general of hell's army, the Spawn. And he, comes back to Earth.
I love the original Spawn, and I know it's not the best, and I know it's argued like it's put like right there with Green Lantern, which I also enjoyed.
As far as bad superhero movies,
like right, yeah, but I mean, whatever. I guess I like a lot of bad movies because I love Ghost Rider too. People say that wasn't right. Well,
that's all right. It's no Theodore Rex, okay?
Let's put it that way. Let's be fair. With a completed screenplay and a new title, King Spawn is ready to get out of development hell. Todd McFarlane is confident that the R-rated movie will have no trouble finding a director and studio after the record-breaking success Deadpool and Wolverine has had at the box office. Speaking with Screen Rant at San Diego Comic-Con 2024, McFarlane theorized that Deadpool and Wolverine's $200 million plus opening will help King Spawn land a distributor. We have our first draft, which now allows us to go and hunt down our director. And once we've got a script and a director, then boom, instantly we go into the studio and we're off to the races, he said. With them waking up tomorrow to a 200+ million number for Deadpool, and with Batman's villain coming out here in October.
Referring to Joker 2.
Yep, which I
It's
can't
Fila
pronounce.
Adus.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it.
It's Fila Adu. It's like French, but I think it's a disorder where you basically hallucinate and you see musicals, because this second Joker movie is a musical.
And it's, I guarantee it's all just going to be like in his head. It's going to be artsy.
I think that's the whole point, but I know they're contemporary. It's contemporary music. Like, they're not original music. It's like rock and pop songs.
With my girl Lady Gaga
Yeah, playing Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
I'm down for it.
So Batman's, so that one coming out in October, they are going to realize that they can make money doing R-rated comic book movies, which I agree.
Yeah, he's actually right. This is the best chance to get a Spawn movie made because of that reason.
Strike while iron's hot.
Well, actually, it's funny because they're about to have a quote from McFarlane, and it's pretty much him saying
Oh,
that.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. McFarlane continued, and we're hoping that because it oddly took us so long to get there, we might actually be sort of Johnny on the spot to say, oh, you're looking for an R-rated material that isn't Marvel and DC? Because only Warner Brothers and Disney can have that. Everybody else in that city, boom. We've got a script owned by the biggest R-rated property in comic books that you can get. There isn't even a close second, and I just say that factually based on sales.
Yeah, and that was actually a good quote to say. Like, he's like, look, dude, I'm not arguing that I got the best. He might be saying he's got the best comic, but he's saying, according to sales, it is the most successful R-rated material in comic history.
Yeah.
In the 90s, he was king. You know what else? I like the McFarlane toys, the toys he designed. He did all the toys for all the horror movies. A couple episodes ago, we were talking about the Blair Witch Project toy that you were talking about. That was Seth MacFarlane's toys.
Yep, and that creature existed. He had a photo.
Not Seth MacFarlane, excuse me.
But yeah, he had a photo of that because they were supposed to, when she was running, she was supposed to pan the camera to the left, and she didn't. Standing there was that like a statue or whatever of that creature.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, he got a lot of license for a lot of horror movie creatures, whether it was done like the Blair Witch Project you were referring to, whether it was done by deleted scenes or concept art. Like, he designed a lot of creatures. Technically, he designed that witch, didn't he? Technically, based on a puppet that wasn't really on screen.
I don't know about that one. I just know that he was sent a photo of it because they were going to use it in the film,
and they didn't use it in the
film.
They
didn't. They fucked up, and they didn't put it on screen. They just needed, as she was running, she was supposed to just move the camera to the left, because when she goes, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember that.
But we didn't see what the hell it was.
But there was nothing there. She was supposed to film it.
Stupid underpaid people just doing their best. God.
And they're still arguing for more money.
Okay, there's a lot of things with that, but we'll talk about it. We already talked about that. So we did. Anyways, that brings us to our final headline of the show, number 6, and spoiler, it's another Silent Bob story. Kevin Smith
announced his next Jay and Silent Bob movie.
So you guys remember on the show, I talked a little bit about this. I think it was the last show or maybe the show before, we had talked about the prop he revealed, the Bobonomicon.
Yes. So this comes to us from Collider.com. Writer and director Kevin Smith sure knows how to line them up while introducing his devoted fans to his upcoming coming-of-age film, The 430 Movie.
Good movie.
At the ongoing San Diego Comic-Con, Smith also announced that he will next direct a 3rd installment in the Jay and Silent Bob series. Before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Smith popularized the concept of shared universes with his cult classic View Askew.
It's the View Askew universe.
Thank you. View Askew universe movies, which also include the 3 Clerks films. The 3rd Jay and Silent Bob movie will be titled
Hold on.
Oh,
this is important. So what it is it's Clerks, his first film. Mallrats, done by Universal, not Miramax, his second film. Then Chasing Amy. Because of the not great success financially of Mallrats, he had to do Chasing Amy for pennies in order to keep the cast he wanted. And that one was very successful. Chasing Amy, 3rd one. Then 4th one, which would be Dogma.
I was going to say Dogma.
Yeah. Very good. Then ending, initially, he thought, with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back in 2001. And that was the complete story of the View Askew universe, he believed.
And that one was the GOAT.
And he kept that promise and did other movies and stayed away from the whole thing until 2007 when he did Clerks 2. Great film. I believe Clerks 2 is our generation version of that. Because even though we were out of high school, that one I identified with the most.
It was, I remember seeing that at the drive-in movie. Dude, so good.
And
Dying laughing the whole time.
It was fantastic. And then I don't believe we see Jay and Silent Bob again until Jay and Silent Bob reboot in 2019. I could be wrong.
I don't think.
And then
think so.
Clerks 3 in 2022 or 2023.
And that one was also surprisingly really, really, really good.
Absolutely. And that is all the View Askew universe stuff. However, there was going to be a Mallrats called Twilight of the Mallrats. At some point, it was a movie. At other points, it was a television show. Unfortunately, with the recent passing of Shannon Doherty, that may or may not happen.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. But anyways, that's the View Askewverse. That's what he's talking about.
Right.
So this is actually going to be the third film in the Jay and Silent Bob story, but, maybe the 10th in the whole movie lineup.
And for those who don't know, View Askew is his production company he runs or whatever.
Yeah, it was his first one, yeah.
The third Jay and Silent Bob movie will be titled Jay and Silent Bob Store Wars. I like that.
Yeah, it makes sense because he loves Star Wars.
And we'll find the two characters running a dispensary and entering a war of sorts with a rival store. Oh, that'll be good.
All of that tracks.
Writer-director Kevin Smith sure knows how to line them up.
I think we just doubled
that one.
Yep.
The stoner characters, Jay and Silent Bob, played by Jason Mewes and Smith himself, appear across the universe in films, like Joe said, such as Mallrats and the Clerks movies, Dogma, and Chasing Amy. They starred in 2 solo movies of their own, titled Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and more recently, the Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
I guess I didn't need to say any of that
I guess
shit.
not.
We could have just read this next paragraph.
The characters often find themselves in situations that reflect the state of pop culture at the time and serve as foils to each other. Jay often describes Bob as his hetero life mate.
Okay.
That's what you are for me, Joe.
Oh, you're my hetero life mate too, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
But I will say that, since I said something that the article is going to say, I'll say something that's not in the article. Well, there is a comic book series called Chasing Dogma, and it is the story that takes place in between Mallrats and Dogma. What was Jay and Silent Bob doing? How did they get from A to B? Find out by reading the comic Chasing Dogma. Or you could pretty much just watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, because a lot of the story from that comic, including Suzanne, the orangutan buddy they make, all of that ended up being in the Jay and Silent Bob movie. It's kind of like the Jay and Silent Bob movie is a adaptation, if you will, of Chasing Dogma, except it takes place after the events, while Chasing Dogma takes in between.
I remember you showing me the comic books. I think I want to say I read a few of them.
They're still making comics. I mean, lately they've been called Quick Stops, like Quick Stop, but Quick Stops. Yeah. So they're little anthology comics. Very good.
Remember the show Comic Book Men?
I do. Yeah.
I loved that show.
I did too. That, of course, is the reality show, a little bit like Pawn Stars, but more of just kind of geeky fun, of Kevin Smith's comic book store, the Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash, run by a bunch of his buddies. And
The one guy played 6 characters in Clerks.
Yeah, his friend. He
was so many different people that would just come into the store. He was just random person A, B, he was just, so it was, I remember when that clicked, and then I watched Clerks again, I'm like, oh my God, it's just him throughout this whole film.
Well, when we made the movies when we were kids, I mean, how many characters did I play?
You played 3 or 4.
Don't worry about this.
Yep.
That guy's a cop. He's also the killer. We're wearing a mask. No one will notice. The killer gets really fat and skinny throughout the film. Don't worry. There's only one killer. We just had less actors.
Yeah, just maybe that tracks right there. That's why Robert Downey Jr. is just going to play his own version of Dr. Doom.
I'm not sure how that tracks, but all right. But all right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earthling Entertainment. remember, the best way to support the show, if you like what you heard today, please download the episodes wherever you listen to this podcast. It genuinely doesn't matter. If there is a download option, that would really help us out. If you'd like to get a hold of us, hit us up on Facebook would be the easiest thing if you want to find our Facebook page. But you can also hit us up on earthlingentertainment@gmail.com. But just a little hint, we'll respond quicker on Facebook.
So, to our listeners, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to share us with someone that you love. Be like, do you like aliens? Do you like pop culture? And do you like comedy? Because me and George is so funny.
It's
Show
true.
it.
I mean, we
Show
are
it.
very funny. Yeah.
So
spread
please
the word.
share us with somebody. And that's all I got to say. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much. So from all of us here at Earthling Entertainment, see ya. See ya.
Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
According to the anthropomorphic pencil that lives under my bed, I'm Joe Wakefield.
I'm Ryan Lang.
You don't have a big long thing?
I don't got that big long thing like you, Joe.
Oh, well, now it...
No, we're simple, simple over here. Oh, and we're still rolling.
That's a good outtake.
I couldn't not. You dangled that in front of me. I had. So, what do you want to talk about, Joe?
The intro was good. I froze.
Awesome. Oh, I got
I froze a little.
So, for those of us, I always do that. This is our special banter episode. In fact, we're calling this Buddies Banter, Volume 1.
There we go. Buddies banter.
Buddies Banter. All right, so guys, I have seen the new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and I personally have always been a huge fan of the Planet of the Apes series. I watched the old ones when I was a kid. They always have things to say politically, and they always reflect the times. Like, I remember in the original series, because there's 5 movies, number 4 all reflected the civil rights movement. And, you know, then you have the corrupted power of, it's just this whole big thing. The reason why I bring this up is because the new one, I was told, someone was discussing it with me, and they say they didn't really say as much, about our society today as the other films. And I disagree, because this new film, I got nothing. It was going so well, and then I fucking just lost everything I was gonna look at, and everything just fell apart, Ryan.
Well,
I'm just saying, it's a good thing this is a bonus episode, because so far this is nonsense.
so far, this is nonsense. And, like, I don't even have much to contribute when it comes to, like, new things I've been watching lately. I don't know what it is. I've tried to watch Dune 2 like 5 times, and I don't know why. And it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of, I gotta actually, like, that's a movie you gotta, like, sit and pay attention to, because a lot of it's in crazy language, and you have to read a lot.
Didn't you read the first book?
I listened to it in audiobook, and I mean, that was good.
It's the same story. Dune 2 is just the second part of that book.
Right. So I pretty much know what's going to happen. Of course.
But you couldn't get through the movie.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And, like, so I can't even think of another new movie I've seen. I've been kind of going back again. Like, I just finished Sopranos for my first run through, and that was a great series. A lot of people I know didn't like the ending, and I know there's a lot of, arguments about how, what was the reason for the spoiler alert. It's been on a long time, so I guess I could say it.
Yeah, I don't think it, but you do realize we've already talked about this.
Did we?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Whoops. Fuck, so cut that out.
Yeah, all right, we're going to...
Okay, we're not even doing good.
Yeah, we're not. Let's try this again. This is
Terrible.
It's perfect, Ryan. Call that with cheese. Hey, I'm Joe Wakefield.
I'm Ryan Lang.
All right, guys. So those of us joining, fuck, forgot what I was going to say. All right, start over. Ready?
Ready.
Go.
Yeah, why not? We wanted to this week just kind of get together and just hang out because we've known each other for a very long time, since like 6th grade. I've known this guy.
It's true.
So we're kind of just hanging out. Like, this is what we usually do when we're not reading articles and thinking up creepy stuff.
Oh.
Pretty much.
All right, hold on. We're going to start this over one last. All right. So, pretty much movies.
Movies, man.
Oh, shit. I got to be honest, man. My entire living room. All right, so my kid is now getting out of the playpen, which is great. You know, I'm happy about that. But he's 1.5, and we can't contain him anymore. And I thought I would get, because, you know, we have a dining room, and in that dining room was a giant playpen. It was like 7 foot by 7 foot. It was great. But now it's useless. I thought I would get my kitchen table back. And I don't get my kitchen table back. It turns out now my dining room has, spaceships in it. Tents that look like spaceships. I like the fact that it's science-based, but I don't get a kitchen table. I am a grown man with a family, and I'm eating off TV trays because my dining room is dedicated to a powwow for a 1.5-year-old.
Yes, you're. I know you're suffering, sir, but it's cool though. They're really sweet.
They are really sweet. Makes me think that, like, how much would it cost to do a full-on, like, Chuck E. Cheese? You know, not with the arcade games, but like the tunnels and the ball pits and stuff. Like, how much does that cost?
I mean,
And-
honestly, just get like a kid's floaty, the kid's pool, fill it up with balls. Then you got like a little ball pit
Yeah, but those balls are really expensive.
there.
Yeah, no, they are. I bought it was like $40, and I got like this bag of like 150 of these balls. I thought it was gonna be great, and it was the size of like a pillow, and
Okay.
it was not very many balls. And then also, I mean, I guess fuck me for not like checking the diameter of the balls, but they were a lot smaller than they were supposed to be. Like, they were literally. It was
Man,
like shrinkflation
I was just
for
about to
plastic
say,
balls, man.
Shrinkflation got your balls, man.
I'm serious. They were like literally two-thirds the size. I don't know.
I don't know.
So, Ryan, how do you feel about shrinking balls?
I don't like it, Joe. I'm not a fan. I hate the. I know we're all struggling. It's hard out there, man. That's why we just all need to just relax and chill and listen to podcasts and do whatever it is you got to do, man, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Joe is currently dying.
Man,
He's doing what he's got to do.
I am glad that we recorded that Tattered Tales today, because that way this whole thing wasn't a waste.
I don't think this is a waste, Joe. We're having a great conversation here.
Oh, well. We're 3 minutes in. This whole time has been 3 minutes.
Good. So, did you hear about they just found more woolly mammoth remains? Like, no joke, this just happened.
You know what? Here's something we haven't done in a while. Mammoth talk.
Mammoth talk. Because seriously, they literally just a 52,000-year-old woolly mammoth carcass. This comes to us from livescience.com. It was so well preserved. Scientists were able to determine the 3D structure of the prehistoric creature's genetic code, a first of its kind, the study shows. And I'm seeing they literally got a 3D reconstruction of the woolly mammoth genome.
That's pretty cool.
That's badass. Like, so
like a statue of a DNA strain, essentially?
right. And then even this is New Scientist. It says woolly mammoth DNA exceptionally preserved in freeze-dried jerky.
Huh.
So,
Which begs the question: what does woolly mammoth taste like?
see, I don't, because I wouldn't even think about eating an elephant.
Well, I wouldn't either, and I've never eaten elephant, but I'm sure there's people in the world who have eaten elephant.
Right.
So, what do you think elephant tastes like?
I don't know. It's kind of a gross thought. Like, I imagine it would be like really tough but fatty, right? Because they live where it's hot, so they need to like store water. So it'd be really fatty.
Huh. All right.
That's
Fair
my
enough.
assumption.
That's a interesting thought. I'm just getting at, like, why would you be grossed out by eating a woolly mammoth or a elephant, but not like a cow? I'm not vegan. Or
I guess
anything,
it's just
but I'm
that-
just saying, if you're vegetarian or vegan, I would understand being grossed out. But you are not. So why?
To be
why
fair,
is-
I'm not standing there cutting up old Bessie. So I mean, like,
No,
it
it's true,
probably,
it's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? So
what is the
I'm not-
weirdest thing you ever ate, though?
Oh gosh, I think that I've eaten octopus, and that's weird.
I've had like it was, I don't know, it was preserved. It was like like octopus or squid, like.
Pickled.
Well, the thing is, do you know how when you get like this kind of crab meat where it's this weird white solid crab meat, or like the inside of a lobster, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of like that. So I don't know if it was like boiled and then pickled, but it was like an Italian restaurant or grocery store I worked at called El Camo's. It no longer exists. But long story short, you came in like a giant bucket, like you were like a 5-gallon bucket, like you'd get pickles, and you open it up and it's just full of these little like tentacles with little suction cups and everything, and you just grab them and you eat them, and when you bit them,
Ugh.
they look like that. They look
Oh
like
gosh.
like crab meat. Too much?
No, it's fine. It's just
I'm basing this on
it-
memory from like
is
20
that
years
calamari
ago.
or is that squid?
Well, I
I
don't know if it was.
forget.
To be clear, I don't know if it was squid or octopus. I know it was a tentacle and it had little suction cups. But it was
Yummy. Nom, nom, nom,
surprising.
nom,
It
nom.
was surprisingly tolerable. But you
Suction
couldn't.
cups,
Couldn't
nom,
get.
nom, nom.
You couldn't get past the way it looked, because it looked like you think it's gonna look.
You don't often see. I feel like when I was younger, I would see this on weird buffets here and there, but you don't see it so much anymore. Frog legs.
My dad used to eat frog legs.
They're not bad. It's really, really kind of like little fried chicken.
Yeah, that's what people say. Is it's like having like a chicken wing.
It really is. It's just, it's always an odd color.
Oh, that doesn't
Like
settle
maybe
right.
it's a little more yellow.
Oh no.
That's
Oh.
the only thing that I remember being a kid, and I tried it, and so I've eaten it, and I remember seeing it often and choosing not to have it, and now I'm like, I don't think there's
I
there's
just don't
much
know what restaurant had frog legs.
I can't think. It was probably a Boy Scout thing. That sounds like a
makes
Boy
sense.
Scout thing.
That makes sense. That does. Yes, yes. I what was it? It wasn't frog leg. Alligator. I had alligator.
How was it?
It was a little bit like rubbery chicken, is what I remember. But I mean, this was at like a Cajun restaurant, where the authentic Cajun restaurant.
Was it like deep fried or whatever? How they do it? Like,
yeah. and I remember it was spicy.
get on down there. Swamp People. I remember that show.
Yeah.
Remember that show, Troy? I love Troy. That was Troy. He don't go get that ghetto. Like he cracked me up, dude.
I don't
like
think I've ever actually watched Swamp People, so I don't know how good of an impression you're doing.
I'm playing it for you in a bit after the show today. I won't subject y'all to it, but no, I'll play it for you later. And I'm pretty close. I'm pretty damn close.
Excellent.
But at the same time, no. So back to mammoth. So this was a good mammoth talk.
Mammoth
we
talk.
ended at frog legs.
All right.
But I'm about it because no, weird food is fun to talk about.
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Like,
but was there more? Hold on, you brought mammoth talk back up. Was there more to talk about the mammoth? Like, I was just gonna follow this trail where it led me.
I have this weird thing with the podcast, like back to the story, Ryan. It's
Yes.
like, and I'm like, there is no story. We're just kind of bullshitting today. So
Yeah,
I just happened to see that.
You're in a rowboat in the middle of the ocean without an oar. You just kind of have to hope the current brings you in, brother.
Yeah, brother. That shouldn't have been said by that one guy.
What one guy?
The one guy who's got that cool cowboy voice from the Big Lebowski. He's got the big mustache.
Yes,
I
yes.
can't think of his damn name.
It's Mayor Wild West from The Family Guy.
That's right. That's right. He does get. He is the new Family Guy guy.
Yeah, he is. Yes,
That's
it's
awesome.
Sam.
Sam. Yeah.
Sam Neill. No, not Sam Neill. Sam.
Something.
All right.
Something.
Well, I'm gonna figure that out. You keep going.
Oh, I'll keep going. I'll keep going.
You know what else that guy was in? Like, he was in this movie called Hero. That was really good.
Never even heard of it.
Oh, well, that's the end of that, I guess.
That's the end of that. Well, no, it's a good show to get back into.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
All right. Thank you very much. That just took way too long to remember.
He's
Sam
the man.
Elliott.
He's got like the manliest voice that ever there was.
Well, he does. He's very, like you say, it's very cowboy. He did that 1883 show, which was I guess it was like a prequel to Yellowstone. That one everybody loves Yellowstone.
Yeah,
And then they
yeah.
also
I figured
had,
he'd be in something like that. I think where I know him from is actually probably Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
Because
was
he
a Ghost Rider.
played the last Ghost Rider who his horse transformed.
Well, you know, you're right.
That
was
movie
yeah.
was sweet.
You know, not everyone would agree.
I thought that movie was
I
great.
thought it was good, and then they started a soft reboot with the sequel, and still had Nicolas Cage, and that was pretty good. Do you know what else he was in? Do you know? Do you remember the MacGyver sketch, MacGruber?
Yes.
MacGruber.
McGrubber.
Do you remember that they had a sequel to the movie?
You know what? I don't know if I did. I think I remember one with, who was the dude with him? It wasn't like,
What are you talking about?
I can't think of the guy's name. He was one of like the members of one of the pop bands, not Justin Timberlake, but
No, he definitely was not anything that you're thinking of. He was Ryan Phillippe, and that he was an actor.
okay.
But he does look a bit like Justin Timberlake. To
Okay,
be
maybe
fair.
that's where my brain
To
went.
be fair, I could see you seeing him as Justin Timberlake, to be honest. Well, what I was saying is in 2021, they did an 8-episode sequel series, and Sam Elliott was in that.
Did he still tear people's throats out?
What, MacGruber?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That was
It's
his
actually
thing.
funny. Do you remember the end of that movie was like he like blew up the bad guy and kicked him off a cliff and then pissed on his body when he was at the bottom of the ravine?
I gotta tell you, Joe,
It's
I
Val
don't
Kilmer.
remember much.
Well,
No.
long story short, the end
Val
happens.
Kilmer.
Yeah, Val Kilmer was the bad guy. So at the very end of the movie that came out in 2008, MacGruber is at his wedding, and the bad guy comes up and he tries to kill MacGruber and his wife, and then MacGruber kills him by basically shooting him with a rocket off a cliff, and then like kicking him, and then like as he's on the ground pissing on his dead body off a cliff. But in the sequel series, this show starts because he's been in jail since the movie for that. So no time has passed for the character because he's been in jail for the 10 years or 15 years since that movie came out.
Just like Beast in X-Men, they did him so wrong in the original cartoon. It was like episode 1, here he comes, busted in, and he gives himself up, gets arrested, and literally is in prison for like until the last season. I was very upset. Sorry, just I feel your pain there, Joe. It's irritating. But another thing that's irritating, what grinds my gears right now.
What grinds your gears, Ryan?
I'm not, because I know it's like everybody's hating on it, but I have to say, other than episodes 4 or 5 of Star Wars' new show of The Acolyte, 4 and 5, amazing. Like, fucking amazing. Some of the best live action Star Wars, in my opinion, that we've gotten in years. But everything else, I don't like it. I don't know. They've missed the mark with me. I'm not talking crap on anyone in particular. I think the actors are doing their jobs. I think they're doing a great job. I love they got the guy from Squid Games to come to be a part of this. And
Sure. Which is strange. I just thought you loved it so far. I thought, because I remember you were saying episode 1, 2, 3, these episodes that you're now saying weren't good. I remember you were saying you liked them when they came out.
Well, and my problem with the show is what I have a problem with most series anyway. So my opinion's slightly biased regardless. Like, they keep having to go back. Like, the new episode was literally the other person's
Perspective. It was a
perspective
flashback episode.
of an episode that I found to be the weakest episode as well. So it's like, wow. So now I get to watch the episode that I didn't like again. Instead of continuing, like, they should have listened. I don't know. Obviously, it was already all done and filmed. And I just, like, they do this with every show. It's not just The Acolyte, and it's not their fault. They're part of the time. And I don't know. I don't like series that much for that reason. I love movies. I don't really like most
I love
series
movies too. Well, the movies you usually get a complete story. The problem is with the sequel baiting is where they make the movies where it's just, the last scene is always setting up for a sequel. I like movies that have a complete ending. That's me personally.
Me too. That's what I'm talking about. Like, not every movie needs a sequel. A good story is a good story.
Although I will take a sequel for almost any movie that I really loved, which is funny because I know it'll be weak and I know it won't be as good as the first. But like for instance, Mars Attacks. I love that movie. I don't think we need a sequel, but think about it.
Like with modern
Sequel.
yeah, like because the whole thing was done with kind of stars of that time. Think about it now with stars of our time. It would be funny. And Tim Burton, I think, would be down to probably do
I think
something like
Natalie
that.
Portman could come back.
In-
She played the president's daughter.
That's right. I wonder why. So was that like before Johnny Depp was involved with stuff, or was he just like doing something else at the time?
It wasn't before. It was just, believe it or not,
He
Johnny
does other
Depp
things.
has not been in every Tim Burton movie.
Right, but it just seems like he is him and his wife. It's always Tim Burton's wife and Johnny.
Tim Burton's old wife, I think, Hella Bonton Carter.
Oh, they're not together. Oh, okay. See, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
knew that. I knew they were.
For a brief time, Eva Green was in everything.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
she was in Dark Shadows, and she was in I don't know, the boarding
Winona
house
Ryder.
for Imaginary Friends or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, no, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Tim Burton films, so I'm with you. Like, honestly, you're right. Do we need one? No, but would I watch it? Yes. And I think a film like that would probably go straight to streaming. Like, honestly, that's just my assumption. Like, I think it'd be like with this new kind of like we were talking, I think before about Spaceballs 2. That's coming out.
Spaceballs 2, which should have been The Search for More Money.
The search for more money. Like, yeah, they really should have. They missed it. They better call it that.
Well, you know what? I watch a podcast called The John Campea Show, and I think he said it best because it was Spaceballs. No, he wanted to name it Spaceballs 3, The Search for Part 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Earthling Entertainment Special Report. The producers of Earthling Entertainment wonder if this segment is even worth continuing. This has been an Earthling Entertainment Special Report. Too much?
Come on, I can find something.
All right.